First play of Rob Dillingham in the Summer League, he wasted no time getting up his first shot. First play, let me get that. But on the offensive end, we all know Rob Dillingham. He's shifty, smooth, he got the skill. But that's not what you need to worry about when it comes to his ability to adapt to the NBA game. Because he got drafted by the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves were the number one defensive team in the NBA last year. And so if Rob Dillingham's going to want to get playing time, that's what's going to matter most. Especially because the offensive stuff, that really comes natural in terms of improvement and finding your spots and getting your flow and your rhythm when moving between levels. So this is what I really want to emphasize throughout this breakdown. So pay attention. Rob Dillingham's guarding Jordan Hawkins, right? And if you just know his play style, he was a rookie last season. He's a shooter, right? And so learning little things like this, how to position yourself so you cannot get exploited in this situation, is going to be key. So when Hawkins gives this up, it's seeming like it's going to be a chase action, right? But there's counters to this according to how Rob is guarding. And so now look at Rob's left hand, right? His left hand, left arm, left shoulder, most importantly, because when you give access to this to a player like Hawkins, to a player who's really good moving off the ball, that's when he can manipulate your momentum, misdirect you, and now can be able to get into a backdoor or just get into a pull-up like he does right there. And so making sure that when you're guarding shooters, you change your habits, not allowing yourself to give access to that outside shoulder, right? That's going towards where the ball is, because if you do give access, they could get back doors, they could be able to get threes like that right there, and you don't want to give that up. And if he does give that up, Chris Finch yelling at him, getting pulled out the game, pulling Mike Conley or Jordan McLaughlin. Little plays like this just will not slide. So he's guarding Jordan Ford, right? Ball gets thrown to the top, thrown down here to 13. And now in a situation like this, you got Jordan Hawkins about to go set a down screen, right? This is an easy switch, right? Boom, I take Hawkins, you stay high, we coolin'. But in a situation here, he decides to go ahead and jump this because he decided to drop back and leave space between him and Ford, so he can't really guide him into this screen and not worry about a backdoor. And now, boom, backdoor happens, throw it right there. In a real situation, you know that in a real game, that's just you gonna get subbed and get an earful from Finch, main assistant, Ant, Rudy, Cap, Nas Reed, McDaniels, whoever it might be. So I just want to make this disclaimer as well. Let me make this disclaimer. I'm not no Rob Dillingham hater. I'm not someone who just wants to see him lose, someone who wants to see him make mistakes and mess up. I point this stuff out so not only can he do better and be able to see his weaknesses if he ever does even watch this video, but for y'all to be able to reflect and see, oh, I be doing the same shit he be doing on defense. That's why I be getting burned. That's why I be getting hit with these back doors. That's why I be getting blown by, right? It's all for you to get better and to improve, and not for me to try to sit here and find somebody's flaws and show why they're not good and why they'll never be good. Because when you have the perspective of growth, you'll realize that all your mistakes and failures are going to be what's going to allow you to become great. Defensively, playing at the proper range according to how fast you are is what's going to allow you to be able to stay in front of the ball. You'll see Rob pick up on the ball at half court, 20 seconds on the shot clock, and practically the only reason you may be doing that is because maybe the coach said, all right, put some pressure on the ball. Doesn't mean you have to get all the way up to the ball. Y'all high school hoopers got to understand that. If you know damn well you cannot stay right in front of somebody and you're 50 feet away from the rim and you won't be able to stay in front of that first dribble that they take and try to get by, back up. You just got to stay in front, right? You just got to stay in front. Leave a little bit of a range according to how fast you guard. And so when Rob begins to pick up at half court, he now gets himself in a spot where he gets bumped. He creates about 8 feet of separation because he doesn't have the functional strength as a defender so that he can be able to absorb that and stay in the proper placing. So now what happens, you open up a lane to this right side, he gets by you, and now foul call on the person on that weak side who is now in a situation where they have to recover for all the things that you did wrong. And so if they do have a foul or two at that point, then you may have to add another one to their total just because you got blown by and you didn't guard in your proper range, right? And so this is something you'll see him do throughout plays quite a few times, right? And this is another time where you're guarding all the way up at half court, 17 on the clock, and now boom, you just get blown by. That's just unacceptable, right? That's just unacceptable. Regardless of the fact he missed it, you cannot allow those plays. And now, just playing in the summer league though, this is not who you really want to focus on, your highest level of competition you're going to be going against. And so even though he did give up some of those blow-bys, he does get himself in a spot where he has some ball pressure. Person may be thinking a little too much, and he ends up getting a steal. They come down, and now he ends up getting here, smoking the leg, right? But you may think, all right, that was a 2-for-1, right? He got blown by twice. He capitalized once. He got 2 points from the free throw line, but then he got here, and then he was able to get a steal, possibly get that bucket. But you got to understand, if he's going to be going against the top guards in the NBA, those steal opportunities are not going to happen. Because just look at who he's going to be going against, right? I just want you to understand this. Let's look at the guards that Rob Dillingham will have to defend on a night in and night out basis with that style of defense. Let's just start in the West. Jamal Murray, he's on the Timberwolves. Shea, Anthony Simons, Colin Sexton, not really high caliber, but he's still going to do his thing. Steph Curry, James Harden, D'Lo, D-Book, De'Aaron Fox, Luka and Kyrie, Fred VanVleet, John Morant, DeJounte Murray and CJ McCollum, Chris Paul. Let's go to the Eastern Conference. The shit is stacked, right? So that defense really not going to fly. Drew Holiday, Derek White, Brooklyn. I don't know what the hell Brooklyn is doing. You're gonna have you could do all that shit against Brooklyn. New York, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey. Toronto, you may be able to get some of that shit by. Chicago, Lonzo. I don't know how Lonzo need looking, but let's keep it going. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard, Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, Heat, kind of mid. Magic, you just got 2 guards in the backcourt, but Paulo's really the point guard, so they don't really be handling the ball. Then Jordan Poole. You've got practically about 23, 24 elite guards. So that defense is not going to fly. He's going to have to level that shit up. Jordan Hawkins hits this 3 in the corner, hits his head on the court side seat, right? Hole in the back of his head. And now Jordan Hawkins was Rob Dillingham's main matchup, and he's trying to get back, but his head hurting. And so now Rob just brings the ball down. He's already got his mismatch. And this is where we know Rob Dillingham is going to do Rob Dillingham, because he's just been doing this his whole life. This offensive stuff, making plays, whether it's him getting his own bucket or setting up a teammate. And so understand, in situations like this is where it's so vital to be able to keep your head up. Because a lot of players will make their first move or make their second move or change direction, and then their eyes will be down, or they're already looking to get to the rim and not be able to see what's really available. But if you just keep your head up in these situations, you'll see exactly this. The second that he hops in to plug in that lane, he kicks it right to the corner. Boom, gets straight to Shannon, and then he's able to get that bucket. I remember when I watched the Rob Dillingham game in Kentucky, right? He went to this move right here about 3 times, right? I believe 3 times in one game. That step back right there in that mid-range. And so that just shows, okay, that may be one of his favorite moves to go to. So now Rob Dillingham's behalf, right? I've got to do a better job of when I do get into a handoff, I get into a pick and roll. I don't seek a step back. I just get myself in position to where I could use the step back. Because it may not be there sometimes, which is why you got to make sure you keep your eyes open, you keep your options open so that you can be able to make whatever play you need to make. All he needs to do is just get himself in these ranges. In the pick and roll, slow down your pace in the mid-range so you could maybe use a step back, and then even if you want to add another layer, get that floater in there. So now you're adding all these layers onto something that's to which you're already really good at and you're comfortable doing. So that's something you can really rely upon and then improve his overall pick and roll, handoff, downhill game. I want you to think about this play from his defender's perspective, right? From the start. First play of the game as well, by the way, right? His defender hit on that first screen. As a guard, you hate to get hit on screens, right? That one probably already took a little bit of energy out of him. And so he got hit. His teammates showed. Okay, he's like, all right, I'm back. I'm cool. I'm chilling. So he relaxes again. Another screen. Tries to get past it. Hit once again. And now look at all the separation that there is. That's like 15 feet, right? And when you get this open and get this much separation, particularly in these off-ball actions and these screens or even going into a handoff, you usually won't even be the one to take the shot because it'll probably be someone else that will have to recover for him that you may run across if this is a handoff, right? You got somebody else by you. So now it's your job to be able to find where must I make the read so that I can be able to get the ball to the open man. So now Rob ends up having 2 on him, and now with this roll occurring, you got to read Jarris Walker, right? What is Jarris Walker doing? I got my teammate 32 here lifting up, so I don't got to worry about that wing. What's Jarris Walker doing? He makes this roll. He's still outside this paint. Boom, I could dump that down. Great way to go up in one motion and get that layup. High level play. High level play. And this is another high level play just coming from playing off the spot up. And I know that may be hard for some of y'all to fathom, but it'll be these little details right here that'll make a shot open versus a shot being heavily contested, smothered, right? So look, watch Rob Dillingham this left side. 12 gets 2 on the ball, pitches his back to 32. Rob's man now steps over to the person who got the first pass. And what Rob is now going to do, he's not just going to stay right exactly where he is because the second man has got to go rotate and get to him, which would be 26, Shepard, right? And so what Rob does is that he's going to continue to move left in the direction the ball is getting passed to him so he can get more space and increase the amount of distance Shepard has to go from being in help and being from on the ball to now closing out to Rob. And now Rob has a wide open look from 3 because the space he created from the pass in itself. Boom, give me that 3 to start the game early on. When you run these stagger actions, the most important thing is pace. Because when you have pace will allow you to be able to recognize these times where there's no communication, right? No communication at all to where there's practically 3 players on the ball. And now Rob gets into a jump pass, right? All coaches hate jump passes, right? They all hate jump passes, but there's going to be times where a jump pass is going to be the only lane you really have to throw to your teammate. And so when you throw a jump pass with intention, with a purpose, that's when it actually could be used for the right reasons. So Rob's lane to this, boom, jump past that over the top, find 14 on his roll, he gets that dunk. Now that Rob is playing in college, reading this weak side is a completely different story. Because if you look at Buddy down here, college has no defensive 3. But in the NBA, there's a defensive 3 second. And so if you want to drive, the perfect time would be now. But he decided to shoot because he probably didn't even realize I got to read this weak side and I could time my drive with the 2-9, right? But instead he took this shot because he hasn't taken into account the fact that that violation is present in this game. And it wasn't present in college. So now playing at this next level, you can really time your drive with those 2 9s.